Ahoy there! Got the 85 Japanese-bound Toyota Tercel Wagon in here right now, and I'm actually midway through doing a CV shop video on how to replace it, and I kind of thought, well, I got the garage warm, I'm already dirty, I already got tools out, I already got a pizza on the way, so I might as well just knock the suspension out all at the same time. So we're gonna go replace the struts in the front and the shocks in the rear. I got new strut hats for it and everything like that too, so I guess let's go knock this job out. I did a similar video for this with a lift kit video, so this will be basically just not a lift kit video, which the same applies between the two. There's really no difference, but anyway, I'm gonna record this. It's a cool car. It's got a cool story to it. Hopefully I can see it someday in JDM land, but yeah, I guess let's get rolling. Don't think I'm going to be able to get to that one from the back side, so we're going to put a gun on the other side. That one's out. Ooh. This thing is not pretty. Pretty sure I have more of these bolts, so I might be replacing this. Alright, I'll pry this thing out of here. And the strut's loose. Now let's go up top. I know that's missing a counter pin. I'm putting it in soon, don't worry. Alright, these are 312s. This big of an impact is 100% overkill, but what I have out. And out she comes. Pulling these apart's pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and spray this with some penetrating oil right now because these tend to be very rusty and not wanting to come off. Let's get that back in there. That would like to not die if it breaks. That is enough pressure off the top spring. Pop this little rubber cap off the end right here. Well, it's stuck on the bottom of the strut. The strut's spinning with it, so we're gonna have to grab a pair of pliers. Yeah. Oh, what I got in my hand. Whenever these spin on the strut bodies, you can typically use a pair of pliers to hold them in place. And out this all goes. That's really all there is to it. I am replacing this strut hat. This one actually doesn't look horrible, but who knows the condition of it, especially once we throw new struts in there. I'd rather not. Find out the hard way, it was bad. They're only a few dollars. Now, we gotta go ahead and get this nut off. So, let's go knock this thing off with a pair of chisels or a wrench or a pliers. Let's see what we got. So, this shock should come up better than that. I should be able to really force that by hand and it barely crawls back. These may have been replaced at some point in time, but at 300 and some thousand miles, they're junk. It's only like $40 to replace these. I think it's $200 for the front and the rears for quality KYBs. So definitely worth it. It'll improve your ride quality, make it less floaty, less wandery. But anyway, enough yakking. I'm gonna go ahead and try to knock this piece out. So the best way to knock these out, in my personal opinion, would be to torch this a little bit, get it nice and warm, and just on this with an air hammer. But not everybody has air hammers, so we're gonna go ahead and do it with a punch and chisel. Just kind of see if we get lucky. This bench vise might need to be moved, and we might need to use a different one, but we'll see what it goes on. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with this vise. This is my grandfather's old vise, and I don't think it's quite strong enough to do what I'm trying to do right now. All right, I'll lower you guys down a little bit. Don't judge my messy workbench. Hopefully I don't got to go to a different bench vise, but we might have to. Let's see how this goes. Come on. That actually is moving a lot better than I would have anticipated, if I'm being completely honest. Now at this point, you can pretty much grab a pipe wrench and fill it on out. I'm gonna go grab something. Now don't be overly surprised that these things are filled with fluid on the inside. A lot of times when these struts blow out, they fill up with the old like hydraulic oil or whatever it is they technically use in shocks. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a poor mathematician, so I don't know for certain, but that one's not horribly wet, but since the track, yeah, it's definitely been leaking a little bit somewhere. There's oil everywhere in it, so I'm gonna go drain this out. Throw the new shocks in that are not junk. We are using KYBs across this entire thing. I will link every part number in the description that I'll be using. I personally really like KYBs. Let me know what you guys think down on the word spot if you guys like other brands, but KYBs have been the best in my personal experience. This box is a little faded. Thankfully, these came with brand new, I think these are called gland nuts. I believe that's what they're called, just in case these do have to be replaced in the future. I would imagine they will outlive the rest of this car's life. But maybe the owner really wants to keep it going for a very long time. You never know, so we're gonna go ahead and do it right. Gotta smack it twice. That's not going anywhere. All right, let's go ahead and put the spring back on. New shock or strut or whatever you technically call them is in. Let's throw that over top of there. That little piece is gonna line right up with that right there. Slide this over everything. Should have bought new ones of these. I didn't really think about it, but it don't really matter. This goes on top of there, like that. And now the new strut hat needs to get in here. Ooh, it says a little thread is on there. That's kind of cool. That'll help for getting it on. Now we'll drop that in place. This shock is loose. Time to go ahead and pop the strut spring compressors off. I'm gonna make sure that this spring is actually in this hat, which it looks like it's falling out. That's not great. There we go. All right. We are going to want these three facing towards the rear. Let's go ahead and kind of guide them up. I'm actually going to do this in reverse because I'm going to go down through here. Now I'm going to guide it up around the sway bar. Okay, so back down here, I just need to get this piece pushed down a little bit and lined up with this. I don't want to rip this CV boot, but especially not on this brand new CV shaft. It has 0 rotations even on it. They're always difficult when you replace struts, whether it's lift struts or not. Lift springs are definitely harder to get lined up, do the extra weight on it, and I usually have to step on this sway bar to push it down, but I don't think we're gonna have to with this. It's just a matter of getting everything to kind of wanna, well, into place. I think I should be fairly close. Right in the way in order to see what I was doing. Now that we are aligned on one, I should be able to do that and kind of guide the other one in place. And we're in. Here we are, one side done. I gotta go ahead and knock these out, get these all snugged up with the impact real quick, but those are like only like, I think 20 foot-pounds of the torque spec or something like that, so I'm gonna snug those down, knock out the other side, and then let's move on to the rear. We'll use some internet magic so I don't bore you guys to death. Well, that concludes the front end. I turned the wheels a little bit so I get some mud flaps on there. So now on to the rear. It is time to change the rear shocks out. These ones are thankfully the easiest. Once again, KYB. Best you can get, in my opinion. So, underneath. So, since we did the left side, or actually, we did the right side for the front, we'll do the left sides for the rear. That way we are being nice to both sides of the car and putting them both in the spotlight and on camera. So this is a 14. Out we go. Off comes that. This should just come right this way. We might have to get a little penetrating oil on here, but we're gonna go drop the front end down, or the top end down first, then we'll get the rest of this off the bottom. All right, inside of the car, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this cap off. These are pretty brittle, so right on the bottom, it should pop right up. Even though I'm removing these, I don't really want to destroy the threads because I gotta get it off the threads, so we're gonna hold it up top right there. Now that we're near the end, I can just kind of destroy the threads now. Oh, there we go. A little bushing sandwich. Well, that did not want to come off, but It's off now. Piece of crap. I'll loosen this up or tighten that up in a second once we get the rest of it all in place. This is probably not going to be the easiest to film, but what I'm going to do is cut this little band, slip on this little rubber bushing underneath this before it falls up, and then we'll let it go into the body. You don't really have to do this underneath the car. You can do this however you really feel like it, but this is my preferred method. I don't really know why, because it's probably not the easiest, but that's just kind of how I roll, I guess, sometimes. Now we'll activate it. And now using internet magic once again, I'm actually going to snug up that bolt on the left side, and I will knock out the right side, and we'll drop her back down on the ground. And just like that, all the suspension has been replaced. This thing is definitely sitting up a little bit higher with these new shocks. And although you guys can't feel what my knee feels, no rebound. Before it was all like, wee. So this thing is gonna ride like $1,000,000. Very excited, very happy with the progress so far. And well, that's really all there is to the suspension. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward process. Obviously I didn't do both sides because I didn't really want to bore you guys to death with the same thing twice. On top of, I've really already done this before on the on Thunder Bucket when I lifted it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, drop a note down on the word spot. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, do all that BS. I don't mean to plug myself super bad, but I hit 2,000 subscribers a couple weeks ago, and it's super awesome. So anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Adios.